Welcome to Vlogmas Decluttering Roulette on Jamie Chaotic, where every day from December 1st to 24th, I will be decluttering one quick problem area in my house, drawn at random from a fishbowl. Because 'tis the season to decorate, host parties with friends and family, and be otherwise drowning in the stress, mess, and chaos of the holiday season. I hope the videos of me getting my shit together can provide you with some decluttering motivation and a few moments of relaxation during these trying times. Thanks for watching. Now on to today's mess. I was so excited to do this spot. I have been waiting to pull this ticket for so long. This little corner of the dining area is absolutely atrocious and out of control, but I know that it's actually going to be relatively quick and easy to make this look a million times better. So there's a lot of games in here that the kids just don't play with. The games are a little bit too young for them, and we've never really just purged any of them, and we've just kept adding to it. Also, there's a few games, small little card games that we only play on road trips. So I'm going to put those with the luggage and their little travel lap board things that they have that they play with in the car when we're going on a road trip. And then also there's some like science kits and other things that I'm going to find a different place for because it doesn't really work over here. This is for games. Now, we used to do game night every week and we were really into the board games, but over time, game night has kind of turned into movie night. So we do need to prioritize playing board games again. We really liked doing it. It was a fun activity to do with the kids, but things have just sort of shifted over time. I think getting a little extra busy, Blake and I are kind of like, playing a board game sounds a little bit like a chore right now, so let's just watch a movie. But it's something that we do really enjoy doing with the kids. So once I get this completely cleaned out and organized, I know it's going to kind of spark playing games again. And it just really needed it. Visually, this was just a dumping ground for the games. So my method here is to clear it off completely. I know that ends up making a huge mess around me, but I wanted to wipe down this cart and also roll it out and clean underneath it because I hadn't done that in a really long time. I'm making a couple different piles of ones that obviously we are going to keep. They're like the go-to games like Candyland and Sorry and Trouble, Mario, Monopoly. Like there's a handful of them that it's like we know the kids are going to want to keep those. And then I also made a trash pile because some of the boxes of these games were completely trashed and I'm just going to take them out of the box if they're small enough pieces to the games itself and put them in bags and then throw the box away. It kind of consolidates it a little bit. And then I also have a pile for things I want to put in a different part of the house. Now, this cart itself is kind of crappy. It needs refinishing, which is something that people do pretty commonly with these little vintage bar cart, rolling cart things. I don't know that I will ever get to the point where I'm able to refinish this thing, but when I put stuff on it, you don't notice that it's all rusted on the top. So it doesn't bug me too bad. So now I'm just putting away the games that I know they're going to keep. I was struggling with this Jenga so dang bad, you guys. This took forever to get this back into the box properly. I spilled them all over the floor like 3 times. I was really on the struggle bus with this thing, but I finally worked it out and got it in there. So I'm going to just put away the ones that are obvious keepers and try to organize it a little bit better. I'm just ridiculous with this thing. There were just pieces everywhere. Jenga is like the worst, but of course my kids love it. Also, the goal over here is to put the snail habitat. Yes, we have a snail farm. I want to put the snail habitat on top of this cart instead of the claw machine and the marbles that I had on here. I just had a bunch of stuff. It didn't have a good focus on this cart. So I want this to be where Gary and his friends live and the snail food and all that. So, because that's just been sitting on our dining room table, which I think is pretty disgusting. Even though it's contained in a nice bin, I'm like, I don't like this looking at me while I'm eating my dinner. So I think putting it here is a much better spot for it. And that was like the biggest motivation for me to clean up this area, was to get the snails over here. Now what I'm doing is also putting all of the little game pieces into Ziploc bags. Like, that was Sorry that I was just working on, and it had all the cards loose sliding around in the box and the little game pieces. So to just put them into a Ziploc and just double check that we have all the pieces to all of these games, it just kind of makes everything a little neater and more organized. Also, some of these games just had a bunch of little pieces. Like, this is the Mario Monopoly, so it hadn't been completely punched out, the little cardboard pieces. So I punched all the little pieces out. I put each thing organized in bags, threw away the big cardboard stuff that was bulky and totally unnecessary. The game board itself folded into a tiny little square. So I was able to put this entire game just into a 9x12 Ziploc plastic bag. So it really consolidates it when I'm able to do that with one of the games. Now, when the boxes are still in really good condition though, I would rather leave it in a box. Yeah, it takes up a little bit more room, but I also just kind of like the way that that looks. And it minimizes the number of games we're actually keeping, because I'm only keeping the amount that fit on this cart. So I did make the kids do a couple of hard choices, like, okay, we only have room for one more. You have to pick either this one or this one. And we're really limiting it to what can fit on that cart, because in reality, they don't play with all of these games. You'll see as the video moves along, I kept the ones at first that I know they play with, that they like, that they're always gravitating towards. And I would have gotten rid of all of the rest of them, to be honest with you, because I know that they don't play them. They don't reach for them. Part of the reason for that is because it's been so disorganized over here. They couldn't even see what they had. So they were just going with their go-tos, the usual games, you know. I'm hoping now that it's more organized and I can pull stuff out easily and show them, like, hey, what about this? What about this? Let's play with this one. You haven't played with this in a long time. Hopefully it'll mix it up a little bit more and they will see that they have all these other fun games that they swear they want to keep and they want to play with, you know. So we'll give it some time. I think as we prioritize playing games more often, there will probably be some more that we will get rid of, to be honest. I think we'll play it or we'll pull it out and they'll be like, actually this one kind of sucks. Let's get rid of it. Because that does happen kind of a lot as we play stuff together. They do see like, oh, this looked fun, but actually we're never going to play with this again. And then they have a really easy time getting rid of it at that point. The games just look extra fun. They're like, oh yeah, I want to play that one. But then when you actually play it, they're like, oh no, this is boring or whatever. So, and some of the games that I pegged as being like for littler kids, Brody still really wanted to keep them. So that was the one where I was kind of like, you gotta pick this one or this one, because I really know it's not going to hold his attention for very long at all. He'll play with it one time and then he'll never want to play with it again. I just know it. So I did say that he could play with this one that he decided to get rid of when I made him make a difficult choice. I said, okay, we will put batteries in it for the day and you can play with it, and then we're going to let it go to a younger kid. And he was like, okay, whatever. Like, he didn't really care. It was more of like, no, we want to keep everything, which they don't usually do. But I think part of that is because this is associated with really fun times we have as a family. So they just want to keep all of it. I think when it's more of their own individual toys that they play with by themselves, they're much quicker to just be like, I don't play with that anymore. I don't want it. Kind of like with Brody and the play food. But with the games, they don't really have a memory of playing all of these because we've had them for so long. So they think it looks fun. But in actuality, I think a lot of these will play it once and then it's going to get donated. And this cart will sort of get more consolidated as time goes on. So at this point in the cart, that is all I would actually keep. These are the games that they play with, they still like, they gravitate towards these ones, and I would probably have just donated all the rest of them. But you will see after they go through them, they kept a lot more, and we filled the cart pretty much to the brim. But that's okay. Like I said, I don't mind keeping a little bit more right here as long as it all fits in that cart. You know what I mean? And I know naturally over time, it will dwindle down a little bit. So I'm just kind of tidying up all the rest of the stuff. There's a few other little random things that I'm also going to donate that didn't have anything to do with games whatsoever. And then I'm going to move on to a different location where we also have games. Okay, here is the kids' toy closet, which it's not great right now. It's organized. Like, yeah, it is organized. There's pretty much a bin or a spot for everything. Everything is not totally put away right now. Big problem in here is that we haven't purged things in a long time. And usually I do like doing that before Christmas, obviously, because we're about to get an influx of more stuff. Although we have said, please, 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 anyone who's buying our kids gifts, experiences are great. We have a lot of stuff. They have a lot of stuff. They like video games and experiences right now. So a lot of this can go away. The Legos are actually kind of in use-ish, more so than other things. But we're not gonna deal with all this right now. I'm gonna close my eyes. And we're going to look past it. Like, a lot of this stuff can go, you know, there's just a lot of things that they just flat out don't play with anymore. I would say Bo doesn't play with any of this anymore, except the Legos occasionally. Up here, they don't touch this at all. Except for the little ukulele, which they do play with, but they make me get it down for them every time. These are games, and these are not even their games. These are vintage games. This is a me thing right here. I would rather keep puzzles right here. I think this is a great shelf for puzzles and even like science kits and stuff that is theirs that they would need parental assistance with. So it's okay that it's up here, right? The things that are science kits, like chemicals blowing up and stuff, obviously we're going to help them with that. So it's okay if it's up here because then we can get it down. All the rest of the stuff is accessible to them. But yeah, these all need to be sold, that whole set. That is a bowling little game that is for much, much younger children. So we can get rid of that. Here's a puzzle. That's good. These realistically can just get thrown away. There's another puzzle, and I think these are all puzzles. Yeah, those are all puzzles. And frankly, this one's still sealed. So how often are we really doing the puzzles, you know? It's okay. If I have a spot for it, we'll keep it, and we'll try to prioritize it this year, just like the games. We're going to try to prioritize having game night again. I like the idea of just kind of having a puzzle out somewhere all the time. It's been fun. This Christmas, we've had the advent calendar puzzle, and it's just been sitting out, and we just kind of tinker with it when we have a moment. So I'd like to keep that going if I can find like a puzzle case. But in the meantime, let's clear this stuff out and put different things away right here. So this is how this area ended up after the first pass, but it is going to change before the end of the video. This is the closet right by our front door here. This is a ticket in the fishbowl still. This is going to be kind of a big doozy. But up there, those are more games and puzzles than the cat carrier. These are more adult games and puzzles, honestly. But if I can fit all the puzzles I want to keep in the toy closet and then definitely get rid of some of these games, because Blake and I aren't doing like adult board games when the kids go to bed. We're just not doing that. I can just see at first glance that there's some to get rid of in here. We do have a nice set of poker chips that could stay in here, but the rest of the stuff I would like to not be in here anymore. I'm just trying to decide if I want to do this now as part of the games, games and puzzles really, or if I want to wait and do this when I do the closet. I feel like I should just do it now because this closet is already going to be really difficult because there's all sorts of different stuff in here. So let's go ahead. I say we stick to the category in this instance rather than the location. It's hard to organize something when you have it spread out all over in different places in the house. I want to consolidate it really into the turquoise rolling cart for games and the toy closet shelf for puzzles and science kits, and this for none of that. So let's go ahead and empty this out. Okay, so this part is going to be super unsatisfying because, like the rest of my life, my phone is cluttered with too many photos and videos, and my memory was full, so it stopped recording like immediately when I tried to film emptying out this part of the cupboard. Yep, that's all you got. I promise I will show a before and after picture at the end, though, to show you what ended up happening. So I moved on back over to the kid toy closet to put all of our puzzles in there. So I did have to kind of reshuffle things around and stack them in a more precarious way that I don't totally love. But for now, it's more about just consolidating. I will go through these again at some point and really analyze what we want to keep and what we want to get rid of. For now, since the focus was more of the little rolling cart, I just wanted to kind of get everything in one spot. You know what I mean? And I did take the Trivial Pursuits and some of the other games and purge them into the donate pile as well, because I know realistically we'll never play those. So now at this point, the kids had come home. We had already sorted through the games that they wanted to actually end up keeping. And now I'm going to put them all into this cart to the best of my ability. It doesn't end up looking great, I will say. Like, I don't really like the way that it looks at the end, but it's still just really crammed with too many games. But it's so much better. And like I keep saying, I know that a lot of these are still going to go away eventually. Here's where I do make Brody pick one or the other because I just couldn't fit them all. And he ended up doing eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So to me, that means he doesn't really have an emotional investment or any kind of opinion about these. And I do want to just let them keep the ones that they really want to keep. And I know as they get older, there is going to be less and less stuff just in general in the house. Less games, less toys, less everything. And I really don't mind, as long as they fit on this cart, I don't mind being in the toy and game era of our lives. So it ended up being fine. And I also forgot that I had a box of cards that I end up using to hold all of those little, like Uno and the little card games that they have that I put on the top shelf there, like underneath the snails. So once I cleared out the box of cards that I had, like playing cards, decks of cards, then I had an extra little storage box to put all of the little Uno games and those types of card games that the kids use too. So that ended up being perfect. All of the decks of cards in this box, first of all, I completely forgot that we had these. Okay, so obviously they're not important. They're not special because I completely forgot about it. They are from Travels. These are souvenir decks of cards that I don't know why I thought that this was a good thing to collect, but I used to buy souvenirs at places. Now I'm more of in the mindset of let's take really nice pictures, and I don't want to buy the little souvenir crap. I used to buy mugs and decks of cards and stickers and all sorts of stuff, but now I don't buy any of it. So anytime we went to a national park or someplace kind of interesting or special, the Dominican Republic, Deadwood, I got a deck of cards. And they're all unopened. They're all sealed for the most part. And it's just not something I care to collect. It's not something that I want. I will say this was way before I got into vintage things. I'd be much more likely to collect vintage playing cards now at this point in my life. I don't know if Blake still thinks these are special, so I will run this by him, but hopefully he's okay with letting them go. I ended up saving six decks, I think. 5 or 6, and I put them all in this red box, which fit into the cart perfectly fine. If there's room for it, I don't mind keeping it, and having it in this little box makes it look much more neat and tidy. So really now the last step is to just relocate the things that I wanted to relocate and throw the trash away. And then that's basically it. So here are the before and afters. Yeah, a little bit different. Sure, it's not perfect. I don't like the way that there's just still feeling a little like too many games, but oh my gosh, such a big transformation. And now we have a spot for the snails, which is fantastic. Inside of the toy closet, that shelf actually got more busy. It has more stuff on it now, but I'm okay with it. We will analyze it at a later date. At least now all the puzzles are together, so that's what matters most to me right now. And in this entryway closet, all we ended up keeping was the poker chips, the travel games, and the cat carriers. But once we actually pull the ticket for this area, it'll probably change around again. Who knows? But for now, this is great. Here is everything that I am going to take to the donation center. This went straight into my car after I filmed this little clip. Also not shown here are the 3 brand new games that we can take and drop off at a Toys for Tots bin because they're brand new, they're never opened, they're a little too young for them, and perfect time of year to pass them along to Toys for Tots. That is it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye everyone.